So you guys with me, you understand what did I explain? I have my QMGRA. I have my QMGRB. I have my QMGRC. I have my QMGRB. QMGR C3.LQ. Just 1 minute. Huh? Okay, leave it. My son was knocking the door. See, you guys have to respond me, okay? Because whatever I'm explaining you guys are getting that or not? This is my QMGR A1. This is my QMGR B2. This is my QMGR D4. QMGR C3. Now, tell me, I have created a cluster central channel from D4 to A1, correct? 1 minute. Okay, I have created a channel from D4 to A1, correct? But I have not created any kind of a channel from D4 to C3. Now this queue is created at cluster level. Now this QMGR C3 is having one cluster central channel which is pointing to A1. Now when you try to access object from D4, which is at cluster level, D4 queue manager will go and look into queue manager full repository. Is this queue available in which queue manager? It will search in a cluster full repository, and here in QManager1 full repository, it will get information of cluster. Hey boss, QMGR C3 is in QMGR C3. QMGR C3.LQ key is available here. So you have to create one fly channel from your queue manager to QMGR C3. Go and create and try to access object. That information this D4 will get from full repository. And then this full repository will, this partial repository to partial repository communication will start. So tell me, have you understand or not so far? If you want, I can try to put one more message, because we have created a queue in C3. We don't have any communication between C3 to B2, correct? We have communication only from C3 to A1 only, but we don't have any kind of communication between C3 to B2. If I try to access the same queue from B2, what will happen? One cluster central channel will create from B2 to C3. This is going to happen. Am I clear? No one is responding. I know bit. Narmada, can you explain what I have explained just now?
So, like what we have done in our lab is, we have created only a sender channel from A1 to all other like C3 and D4. And for C3, we have created the local queue, and we have the channel to send messages only in A1, not in D4. So what we did, we accessed this C3. Sorry, we put the messages from to C3 from QMGR D4. So once we started accessing the queue from D4, it started creating the channel immediately. So
Perfect.
likewise, if we
Perfect. That's it. Because if the same setup you want to do in distributed, you need a remote queue from D4 to C3. Now here there is no concept of remote queue at all. From D4, one new cluster center channel will create, which is pointing to C3. That's it. That's the concept. Okay. Now imagine if I have to decide a workload balancing, if I create a same queue in here, in here, in here, in here, in all the queue managers, whenever someone is trying to access a queue at a cluster level, if I want, each queue manager will get four messages. The workload balancing has to happen. Okay, that concept also we'll see right now. If you understand this cluster currently. If you want to do one more example, then what I do, I'll create a queue in a D4LQ. And I'll try to access it from C3. Then new channel will created from where to where? From C3 to D4, because I'm trying to access from C3, the queue which is created at D4. Okay. Can I do that? Or D4 define QMGR D4 dot LQ cluster of, what is the name of cluster? Now I created a queue at cluster level. Now I am planning to access the D4 queue from C3. So I want to see any channels as of now from C3 to D4, because we have not yet access at least one time, so it won't create it. See, C3 to D4, any 2.D4 is there?
A1.
No. 2.B2 is there, 2.A1 is there, 2.C3 is there, 2.C3 is there, 2.C3. 2.D4 is not there in QMGR C3, correct? In QMGR C3, where I'm going to try to access, the channel which is about to create is not created, correct? Once I try to access the object in D4 from C3, then only 2.D4 channel will create, which is a cluster center channel. AMQS put QMGR D4.LQ. I am trying to access from QMGR C3. So when I try to access an object which is created in QMGR D4, I'm trying to access the same object from QMGR C3. What will happen? A cluster central channel which is going to create, which is pointing to QMGR D4. So 2.QMGR D4 is not there, correct? If you verify this, if you verify this output, there is no, correct? It's not there. Answer me, guys, yes or no. Riyaz, Kirtana, not at all speaking. Narmada, can you answer?
Yes, Akbar.
So once I start putting messages, then only 2.QMGR D4 will create, correct?
Yes.
So I'm started to putting messages. MSG1, MSG2, MSG3, MSG4. Now, if I go to QMGR D4,
Display CHS. Yes.
this created, see? No. QMGR D4 center channel.
C3. We need to check for C3, right?
No, QMGR C. Okay, we created in, okay, sorry. We have to search in QMGR C3. Because we access the object from C3, right?
Hmm.
The object object is actually created in D4. So 2.QMGR D4 is the center channel is expected. QMGR D4 center channel. Yeah, here it is. See, in C3, we access the object of D4. That's why 2.QMGR D4. If you see the same C3 2.QMGR D4 center channel is not there previously. Before putting messages, it is not there. Only after it came after putting the messages. This is the output. In this output, there is no cluster center channel for D4, correct? Where is it? D4 is not there. Perfectly fine. Any questions so far? So this overall cluster concept is you can access the cluster queue from any other queue manager. But if you want to try to get the messages means you have to connect to that queue only. For example, QMGR C3. Display QMGR C3.LQ. I have 8 messages. I can't get the messages from this queue if I'm not connecting to this queue manager. To get the messages, I have to go to the queue where it is physically created. So physically created where? In C3 only. If you try to access from A1, what will happen? Will I am able to get the messages or not? Let's see. C3.LQ, and if I want to access from QMGR A1, see, you got an error. When you're trying to get messages QMGR C3.LQ from QMGR A1, it is giving you error. MQRC 2085. What is this? Unknown object name. If I try to access same MQS get from QMGR C3, I'm able to get because it is physically created there only. See, you got the messages. Are you understanding? If the queue created in C3 in cluster level, you can put messages from any other queue manager. But if you want to get the messages, you have to go to that queue manager only. You're getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So, Narmada, now tell me AMQS get. If I want to get the messages of queue which is created in queue manager D4, QMGR D4.LQ be created. Now, if I want to get these messages from QMGR B2, will I get the messages or not?
No, we will not get that message.
Correct. We will not get the messages. Let me try with AMQS get QMGR D4.LQ from QMGR A1. See, we won't get. If I try to A1, B2 and C3,
Will not get it.
will not get. From where you will get? QMGR?
From D4.
D4. Yes, you're able to get, because the queue is created physically there only. That's how the cluster concept was. You can put message for a queue from any other queue manager, but if you really want to get the messages, then you have to connect to the queue where it is physically created. Riyaz, Kirtana, you guys with me or not? I know this is little bit complicated concept. That's why I'm taking these classes on weekend. Because in our regular classes, we cannot complete this. So this is the next concept is workload balancing. It means you are creating a queue at a cluster level. For example, define qlocal, cluster of cluster name. Okay. You have to alter the queue manager attribute class workload use queue local to any. Normally, if you see QMGR C3, what is that attribute? Use qlocal. Plus workload use queue, CLWL use. CLWL. See, CLWL use queue local means the functionality works only on this QMGR C3 only. If you want to make that queue as a global, okay? If you want to make that queue as a global, you have to change the attribute from plus workload use queue local to any queue manager level attribute. Okay, see here two things. Plus work. Okay, there is a power issue at home. Okay, just now power gone. Plus workload use queue any defbind. Display